Many of the vegetables we grow in our garden are annuals. You know, think of like tomatoes and peppers and watermelon, cantaloupe, things like that. Those are all annuals. And what that means is we plant a seed or buy a plant in the spring, and a plant produces in the summer and gives us the veggie or the fruit that we want. And then we can actually save the seeds from there and grow new ones next year. Now, of course, you want to make sure that they aren't hybrid seeds. You need to have heirloom seeds because hybrid seeds will not breed true. But anyway, pretty easy to, eat a watermelon and save the seeds and then plant them the following year. Now, some things are perennials, and I love them, but there just aren't enough of them from your garden. I mean, here are the perennials that I have planted. Here's my asparagus. The season is over. It is now going to be growing into big fronds and hopefully storing a lot of nutrients for next year. But really, other than watering it and feeding it once a year, I don't have to do anything. And asparagus can be good for like 20 years. Now here's another one. This is my sunchokes, and you've seen some videos if you've been watching my channel on it. Again, highly invasive plant, but definitely a perennial. Comes up every year whether you want it to or not. And over here are my potato onions. And look at how well they're doing. Again, they keep coming up as long as there's some in the ground. And of course, this is my lovely rhubarb. Again, you plant the plant and you don't worry about it. It gives you rhubarb stalks for many, many years. So these are my perennials. Many of the things grown in our garden, however, are called biennials. And that is like beets, yummy Brussels sprouts, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, celery, chard, collards, kale, kohlrabi, leek, onions, my favorite, parsley, parsnips, rutabagas, which a lot of young people don't even know what a rutabaga is, and turnips. So what does it mean for a biennial? Well, what happens is you plant the seed and you get the plant and harvest your produce that first year. But then you have to leave the root, let's say, if it's rutabaga or turnip, in the ground, or harvest it and keep it in the house, maybe in some wetter sand or something in a cool room all winter long, and then plant it again the following spring. And will it give you more, let's say, beets or rutabagas or turnips? No, it will not. Instead, what it will do is grow seed. But it will take usually about the entire summer to grow seed. So I thought of, if you're thinking about SHTF gardening and want to continually have a harvest every year, that makes it much more difficult with biennials. Because if you were depending just on your own plant stock, then you wouldn't, you'd harvest, you'd keep some. The following year, you'd have to use your precious garden space for actually growing just the seed stalks or the seeds, and then keeping them again in the winter, and then planting them the following year to actually get produce. And I thought, for people who were like pioneers and were starving to death, could they actually say, oh, we're going to keep this beet or this whatever veggie and we're going to overwinter it because you can't eat it even though you're almost starving to death because we need to have seeds for it next year? No, you won't get anything to eat, just seeds. I know that's unlikely to happen, but it makes you think that maybe for your biennials you should keep seeds on hand because of that progression. You're talking multi-year progression until again you can plant the seeds and get the produce. So I did it the lazy way. I'm really not a seed saver generally, but I noticed things coming up in my garden. And when this first happened, when I was more of a novice gardener, I thought, oh good, look at the cabbage is growing again. I don't have to plant cabbage. Well, that didn't work too well. I learned that it was going to only grow so it could have seeds. But we must have had a milder winter, because I have quite a few areas here that are overwintered and then sprouted up. So let me show you. So I made a video before on saving parsnip seeds, and again I left some parsnips in the ground, and I will have way more parsnip seeds than I need, but I had the space in the garden, so I'm just letting them grow. Actually, they're kind of pretty, I think. Here's the kale that's going to seed. You can see there's still some flowers, but if you go up to the top there, see it's getting little seed pods. So I will have kale seeds later this summer. You can see these. This is an onion left in the ground. And again, it's making seeds. So if I wanted to, I could plant onions from seeds. Although, to be honest, I usually start with onion starts instead. Now over to the left there, we have turnips, and then we have rutabagas. They're right next to each other. You're supposed to kind of prop them up so they don't go all the way on the ground, but I don't see what difference it makes. I don't need to go by there. But again, you can see, just like the kale, there was first flowers, and then it's getting little seed pods. So I will be saving these seeds and seeing how it goes. My understanding is I might have one key mistake, that my rutabagas are too close to the kale, which is on the other end of the garden, and they might interact and I might not get what I think I'm going to get. But it will be a learning experience. But just think if you were in an SHTF situation, okay? Number one, your garden space is so precious. Do you really want to use it on something you can't eat that year? Something that's just going to generate seeds? You know, I think that's doubtful. And yet, a lot of the crops that are biennials are the ones that really winter well. You know, onion is a biennial. So if you think of it, who'd want to live in a world without onions, right? Anyway, I just thought I'd cover some of this because for those of you who are more novice gardeners, you might not realize how to save the seeds that you get from these plants and what it means that biennials are multi-year as opposed to annuals, which are so easy. You know, if you think of your bean plants or your peas, they're annuals. You just easily, right, let them dry even right on the stalk, and then you can just open them up and there you go. You have your seeds for next year. So, biennials, a different problem. Just thought I'd cover that, and let me know how much seed saving you do. Please reply down below. And I hope your garden is doing fantastic this summer.